Welcome back to part two. Now, I just listened to part one before I posted it, or after I posted it. And just to clarify something, um, it might have sounded confusing, but Thanksgiving, when we told him, or when my son asked him if he wanted to stay with us, and he said yes, um, he didn't stay with us right after that. It was sometime in December when we went to go pick him up when he ran away from that other foster home, is when he started staying with us. So just so nobody gets confused. But once again, welcome back. I appreciate you guys for coming back and finishing this story. So I'll just leave off where I'll just continue where I left off from part one. So his foster mom, when I told her um, that his biological mom didn't want me to go down there, and she thought it was a good idea I didn't go, because she knows something probably would have happened. Um, so as time goes by, and we're still trying to figure out what happened to him, where is he at? The Fresno Police Department, the missing persons or people or unit was looking for him. They went back and to his apartment and talked to the apartment manager to see if they had any surveillance cameras, which we're wondering why they didn't do it a long time ago. This was already like 2 weeks. 2 weeks already had went by. And it comes to find out that they had the roommate on video throwing a bag in the dumpster. But they still didn't know what was in that bag. And they finally got a search warrant and went into the apartment, and they discovered a lot of cleaning material, cleaning supplies, a lot of disinfectant. And so when they noticed that, I guess they put the pressure on Sergio's roommate and his girlfriend, who was also there, and they finally got him to tell him what happened. Now I knew all along the roommate had something to do with it. There was no doubt in my mind. And they finally admitted it to the police department or detectives. And their story was that him and Sergio had a fight, and Sergio was whipping his ass, and he told his girlfriend to get a knife. So ends up getting a knife, and she stabs him in the neck, almost killing him instantly. But she continued to stab him, total of 17 times in the back. And the coroner said that um, he died instantly, within seconds, from the first one to the neck. But what they did was they tried to cover it up. They cleaned up their apartment, and they took him to try to hide his body. But knowing it would probably be hard to carry around in a bag, they cut his legs off. Or they cut his body in half from his waist down, I guess. That way it'd be easier for them to move him around. And they took him probably out in the country, a few places. That's the reason why when they were tracking his phone, that it popped up that he was in several places. And his roommate was answering the phone. So what they did is they took him somewhere and they burned him. Then I guess they didn't feel comfortable where he was at. So they went and got him and took him to a canal off of Hughes and Emerson, I believe. The canal was empty, and they put him under the bridge, and they covered him with the tarp, just his upper half of his body. And a couple of days later, Um, they arrested them, and a couple of days later, somebody passing by notices the tarp and thought it was odd, and went and looked, and it was Sergio, the top half of his body. Now the surveillance showed the roommate throwing something in the dumpster on the video, so they went back to try to locate the lower half. And by then, the garbage man probably came, and so they had to go look in the landfills wherever they take the trash. Something. I didn't get all the details. I didn't go into all the details. Um, his foster mom and his biological mom were notified when they found him, and they had to identify him through the dental records. And they told him they can go down there and see if they can identify him. And his foster mom, who I talked to after, she had told us, yeah, you can tell he was burned, but I mean, you know your kid when you see him, no matter what condition. She said, yeah, it was him, and they located the rest of them. So these two people, the roommate and his girlfriend, end up going to court. Of course, they got to plead guilty. I mean, not guilty the first time to get bound over to Superior Court. Well, it's almost obvious what the district attorney was thinking, or what the department was thinking. They looked at him as just a runaway kid, a troubled kid with a criminal background, which he didn't have a criminal background. He was never arrested for nothing. He was only picked up a few times for running away from foster homes. And he had told us before that he left them because they weren't treating them right. Them foster families or parents were fucking mean. And he said one of them even had a chain tied around the refrigerator, and they weren't allowed to go in there and snack when they wanted to snack. And so he said that's the reason why he would leave these foster homes. Now, he never told us why he was taken away from his mom. We never got into that. But he did express that he was happy, that we let him stay with us. And he wanted that family atmosphere. He wanted to feel like he was a part of a family. But the district attorney, they just looked at it like he was just a troubled kid. They didn't give a fuck about him. They didn't give a fuck about nothing. They end up giving his roommate a deal, which his roommate was already blaming the girlfriend. She was 17 at the time. So we never knew anything, what was going on with her case, because it was all kept secret, because she was a minor. But him, the DA they give him a plea bargain. And it wasn't manslaughter, second degree murder, none of that. They gave him a charge, which was something like dismembering a corpse or something. Even though they were trying to cover it up, they moved his body a couple of times. They threw half of his body in a dumpster. That's not just dismembering a body. They were trying to cover it up. They actually thought they were going to get away with it. Now, the girlfriend, she's still fighting the case. She's still in juvenile hall, even though she's already 18 now. And his roommate, which is the reason why I did this story, this video, because I found out 3 weeks ago that he was already out. He only did 8 months county time for dismembering a body. So that's a proven point that when you have something on your record, the Justice Department don't give a fuck about you. They didn't give a fuck about him. They looked at him like he was a troubled kid, which he wasn't. He played sports. He didn't have no criminal record. Just running away from foster homes. And the time that I've known him, he never showed any signs of being on drugs or nothing. He was a good kid. He was a good kid, and he was just about to start his life when it was taken from him by some little crackhead bitch. Now, it was a kind of a cover up by the city, and I'll tell you why I believe that or I think that. It's because for what his roommate did, and while he was in the county jail, I looked in the inmate search online, and they didn't have where he was housed, but we knew he was in custody. You know, I was trying to talk to some people in there, and nobody could find out where he was at. It wasn't even on the inmate search, but it did have him in custody. It didn't show where he was housed, and I think they knew that somebody would have to went and talked to him. That somebody would have went to go talk to him. They were hiding it basically. They let his roommate get away with it. I guess he's blaming it on his girlfriend now. He claims self-defense, which we don't believe it was self-defense. We believe that they had that planned. That if they talked before and said if they were to ever get in a fight, the girlfriend was gonna do what she did, knowing she was underage. She'll probably be out in a couple years. Now I don't know how they're gonna convict her, but I think he's probably gonna testify against her, and they're probably gonna say they were scared. They didn't know what to do. One thing I would say is when they went to court, he didn't have no remorse. There was no apology to nobody, to his biological family, his foster mom. I can care less if he apologized to me. I'm gonna feel the way I feel. But normally you see on TV, people commit crimes and they apologize to the family. This dude didn't do shit. It was like he knew he got away with it. And the district attorney knows they let him go. Police department knows he got away with it. And it's a sad situation because that just proves that when you have anything on your record, they don't give a fuck about you. They didn't give a fuck about him. They don't give a fuck about me. They don't give a fuck if you just got out of prison. They don't give a fuck about you. Or if you're just getting out, they don't give a fuck about you either. This is their way of letting us kill each other off. It's just a game to them. And that's also another reason why a lot of murders go unsolved, because they just label it as something that happened, gang activity, a gang killing. Sergio wasn't in no gang. Yeah, he had a lot of friends going from foster home to foster home in Fresno, but he wasn't no gang member. And they looked at it like that. That's the way it looks. But they don't give a fuck about none of us. To them, it's better if we just kill each other off and they don't got to deal with us. So in order for us to make a change, we have to do it to ourselves. We have to take matters into our own hands and realize that the justice system don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about me. And if you never got anything on your criminal record, I hope you don't get one, because then they won't give a fuck about you either. It's kind of a sad situation, because something like this to a kid that did not deserve that. If anything, if they did it on accident and they felt remorseful, then you can understand, as a human being, you can understand they did it out of fear. But once you go to cutting somebody in half and taking their body here and there and burning their body and then moving the body, once you go to that, once you do that much, then it's no longer you did it out of fear. You committed murder and you were trying to hide it. And in this situation, they got away with it. What he did, the roommate did. When we all know the truth, we all know they probably ambushed him. And we know Sergio was whipping his ass. And he called out to his bitch to get a knife. And she got a knife, just like they planned. Then they stole his shit. Had a few pair of Jordans. They stole his Jordans. Probably went and sold that shit for some meth. And got all tweaked out. Cut him up. Now I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm happy you guys tuned back into part 2. And I just want to thank you guys. And I know you, as human beings, you can feel the pain. Some of you probably never had to go through anything like this. Some of you have. So you would know the pain. And you would know the memories don't ever go away. The anger doesn't go away. And the dude that did it, if you happen to run across this video, then you know what's up. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys liked it, hit the like. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Tap the bell to get notified when I put another video out. And comment. I'll always acknowledge the comments. I appreciate the comments. If it's bad or good, I appreciate you. Appreciate all of you for having my support. Hope you're all in good health. Hope your kids are good in health. Hope your kids are safe. It's Christmas time. Should all have smiles on our faces. In memory of Sergio, I'd like to say good night. Peace.